Still can't get the camera to play right with the lighting, but greetings and sanitations. How are we doing on this fine day? Well, I mean, it was a bit stormy here today. Can we call it fine day? Well, I feel like sometimes any day you get away from is a good day. And I had a good day. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning. I don't know how you're doing today, but I hope you're doing well. I had some really fun things happen today. So I've been playing around with some of my projects for world building, for storytelling and gaming. And part of that is creating my other races and creating their cultures and their languages. And so I've been looking into interesting things out there for languages, both actual languages that people have spoken in cultures in the past, as well as Conlangs, which is short for constructed languages. And some of the constructed languages that many people know would be things like Klingon from Star Trek, where there are people who actually learn to speak it. And more recently, Game of Thrones series, which I haven't seen any of, so I can't tell you how good it is or not. Not that I'm a linguist who has any right doing that, but the Conlangs that I'm looking at are more unusual and lesser known. And I'm just kind of finding it interesting to see what people do when they build a language versus encounter one natively in a spoken community. And one of the ones that I found today is called Tokipona. Tokipona. And this is a conlang that was supposedly constructed by a woman in Canada who built it partly because of its minimalism. So it uses 7 consonants and 5 vowels. I think it was 5 vowels. And using only those and very simple grammatical and structuring rules. Builds a vocabulary of 123 words. And those 123 words are all you need. And I'm like, I find this fascinating. Yes, a lot of the things don't have words for it. Like, there is no word for coffee. So if you want to talk about drinking a cup of coffee, you have to structure a sentence in such a way that you're talking about the bitter dark liquid, or I don't think they even have a word for bitter. So the harsh dark liquid, and a lot of words have a sort of vague meaning where they could mean a lot of related words. So you might be I or see or look or something to that effect. And it could mean all of those things, but contextually within a sentence, only certain things make more sense. And you can actually make multiple words imply the meaning of that thing. So a car would be, I think somebody used a reference of a car can be, for one person, it can be a room that moves. And for another person, it could be something like a bed that surrounds you, or something to that effect. Like it's less about conveying an exact word and more about what are the different ways we can refer to this thing. And it's meant to keep it as simple as possible to make you really think about what you are saying. We have a tendency, and I love this aspect, we have a tendency in this culture to, or at least in the Western cultures that I know of, refer to things by a word that we've just come to assume is that meaning. And we don't really break down the implications of the meanings we apply to words anymore. And when you have a language that doesn't effectively have words for so much, you have to refer to them by what you mean them to mean. I just find that fascinating. And so I had a lot of fun exploring that today. And it's fun to learn these kinds of new things and explore and find something to explore. So I certainly suggest you check out Tokipona. It was totally worthwhile looking into. I will type it over here to the side. Tokipona. And one of the other things about Tokipona that I was looking at earlier today is there was an artist. I can't remember the name of the artist. If you look up the Wikipedia page on Tokipona, they have in language the hieroglyphics some people have made for it. Because here's the thing, it's a language you can use the 7 consonants and 5 vowels from the Roman alphabet in and have no problems. So you can just use Tokipona, and that's perfectly fine. But there's also a way, because you only have 125 words in their vocabulary. Again, it's a very minimalistic language. You can use symbols for each of the words. Now, I have to admit, there's a part of me that thinks that the simplicity of the language actually lends itself to really understanding of the bare minimum you need from a language to be able to communicate something. And that bare minimum may actually make it easier to learn other languages from, but it also makes it a good source to start from when playing at the idea of building my own languages. But the hieroglyphics they used, having 123 hieroglyphics, and the artist made them look like weird little monster creatures. Dead monsters. I said, cartoon monsters. There are 100 and some odd of them. How many Pokemon were there in the first generation of Pokemon? Look that up. The actual answer is something like 152. But there are enough monsters in the first Pokemon set that you could make a language where you substituted a Pokemon for each of the words in Tokipona and make a language that's just Pokemon. And I find that idea just so absurdly fun that I kind of have to do it. And he sort of was showing off his screen or something where it has little blocks on the timeline at the book and click through and it'll take them to that particular chapter. That's cool and all. But what that really makes me excited about is, years ago, I was working on a series of videos, and I've scripted up some stuff for it. I haven't completely finished all of them script-wise, but I was scripting some things for making choose-your-own-adventure videos. And if you've ever used a choose-your-own-adventure book, a choose-your-own-adventure book basically is just a book. It's not a stack of books telling you to go from this book to this book. It's a book where you read a page or two, and at the end, you make a choice. If you choose choice A, go to page 42. If you choose option B, go to page 23. And you flip to that page, or that chapter, if you will, to continue the story. And so now I'm like, oh, we got the chance to do this again, because I was doing this back when we had annotations. And when they got rid of annotations, it broke everything. And I was trying to figure out ways to get around that and do something else. But I don't need to now. It's not as clean and perfect as I would prefer it to be. It's not a nice, clean, sweet, like click here to be taken to this section like it was with annotations. But it's close enough. I mean, it still breaks it into sections, and then I can say, like at the end of a segment, I can say, if you choose this choice, go down to the description and click chapter 4. If you choose this option, go down to the description and click chapter 9. And I can put links in the description for those. And maybe there's even a clickable function where you can, I don't know enough about it and I need to play with it to figure it out. So I'm hopeful that there's some things we can do to play with that a little bit more. So I'm super excited about that. And then I did the video earlier tonight, the live stream that I do, where we take a look at a movie or a book or a TV series, and then just say, all right, so if I were to write this story as something different, make something new out of this idea, how would I structure it? I had 2 good ones from tonight and 1 really good one last night, and finished off a different good idea the night before. I'm having a blast just coming up with those. I don't know that I'll be able to write them all, but if somebody else wants to write them too, just let me know what you change and share it with the rest of us. I'd love to hear about it. So I've really had a pretty decent day here. Hope everything's going well with you. Yeah, I think I'm, as an essential employee, I'm probably due back to go to work now that I've gone through the full time with my sickness for the quarantine of it. But I think I'm due back at work. This doesn't endanger each other. But I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're staying healthy. I hope you're taking care of yourselves and each other. That's it for tonight. I will try to catch you tomorrow. And until then,